Hey traders, and welcome into the fast start onto the ATAS platform. Before we're going to get started, just as usual, the quick tech check. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see the screen, and we're going to get it going. So a quick tech check before we're going to get started. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. If you can see my screen, put me just 111 in the chat if you can see it and everything is working fine. And we will be good to go. Hi, all good first. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the feedback. Lovely, lovely. For everyone who is joining me for the first time, we are excited to have you here as an ATAS team as well. My name is Anastasia, and I've been trading for the past 9 years, and for the past 6 years, I've been with ATAS platform exploring the footprint and order flow and volume trading. So here I am today to be able to help you to get started in the most comfortable and smooth way into the ATAS platform and find your way into the better way of trading. So hopefully after our today's webinar, you will be able to feel comfortable to walk around the platform in general, to be able to open your first charts, set up your first layouts, templates, and workspace to get ready to trading. So 10 out of 10, fantastic. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. So before we're going to get started, if this is your first time watching our webinar on the live setup, if this is your one of the first times launching the ATAS platform and you are a new user of ATAS, can you please put 1 in the chat? If you can put 1 in the chat, if you are a new user of ATAS platform, if you're just exploring footprint and order flow and volume trading, and you are new here and you are trying to find your way around ATAS platform, put me please 1 in the chat so I know which audience we have today. Welcome everyone, good to see you. Thank you for joining our live stream. Okay. By the way, if you are here, also if you have some specific questions regarding the ATAS setup, so something that you were trying to find but you couldn't figure out yourself, something that you perhaps faced as a difficulty around the platform, maybe it's not your first time walking around the platform, but perhaps you cannot find some features, so you don't know how specific things work, this is also the place to ask those questions. So if there is anything, please don't hesitate to put any questions in the chat. I also, during this live stream, come back from time to time to the chat to answer those questions. So please make sure that you text them. If there is anything that you have some questions, I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I can. And don't worry, none of the questions will be missed. So I'm gonna get back to you in due time. Welcome, welcome. Then in this case, we are very close to each other because I'm also right now in Marbella. So we should be very close somewhere. So let's get it started. So first things first, when you first time launch the ATAS platform, this is the dashboard that you will see. So this is your main dashboard of ATAS, all right? And before you open any chart, before you open your workspace, this is how it's gonna look like. So first of all, I'm gonna walk you through your main dashboard. And during our today's live stream, I'm going to show you everything from the base features to the main features, to how to set up your watch list, how to open your first chart, how to set up your chart in the most comfortable, convenient way for you, how to open and close trade and manage trade into the ATAS platform as well, create templates so it saves you most of the time on setting up your trading platform as well, and how to create your first workspace and how to simplify your life. Because I know when you transition from other platforms, when this is your first time exploring footprint and order flow, this might feel confusing. You might feel a little lost, and this is exactly why we host these webinars weekly, to help you to feel more comfortable transitioning into the order flow and volume trading in your journey. Okay, so welcome. We have a big Spanish community apparently today on the live stream. Good to hear you. Welcome. Hello, thank you for joining. So getting back into our platform, this is exactly how it's going to look like. Okay, this is your first main dashboard. Now in this dashboard, you have several main options and tabs right on top of your screen. Okay, this is where my mouse is. So the loan, home, settings, and the license information tab. So let's go step by step. We're going to quickly go through the basic default features, and then we're going to dive deeper into the more complicated ones. All right. So in the license information, which is your base one, okay, you will be able to find the information about your license. So the email, the license duration, so how long your license is valid, and the markets that you have the access to. Okay, so this is very basic, very simple. I think everyone gets this. Now, in the settings tab, so we go from right to left. In the settings tab, you will be able to find some common settings and also some adjustments for personalization of your platform. Like, for example, the theme. You can change the theme to for dark to light, for example, if this is more comfortable for you. You can turn on or turn off sounds. So you can make sure, for example, sounds are completely off and yet do not disturb you. Or if you prefer, for example, to use some background apps, or you're not always in front of your screen and you want to hear when the order gets filled and so on and so forth, you can also enable the sounds. You can choose which sounds will be enabled. For example, you don't want to hear how the server is connected or disconnected, you can disable this, but make sure that the order sounds are enabled. So you can customize it depending on your preferable needs as well. And you can choose which sound are gonna be obviously playable. So once you made some settings, make sure that you click apply, because in this way the settings are gonna be saved, and you click OK to get back to the main menu. So this is name, this is settings. You can also have the common settings. This is the tab that majority of you will never use, because this is some specifications that you will be able to twist and trick once you are already using the platform like really advanced. Majority of people, the things that they adjusted the value area percentage, for me, it stays at the 70 for all the 6 years that I'm using the order flow and volume analysis. I didn't change the 70%, the something that I use as well. So it stays by default. If you will be trading using the depth of market indicator, you can adjust the levels count for the depth of market indicator here, which is quite important because some people are getting lost when they are looking for this as well. And you can change some notifications, change the delay of the data, so the speed of the data, and so on. So mainly you never come to this menu unless you want to adjust the value area and the depth of the market level count. So once you did this, you click OK, you get back to the main menu. And the very important things that we always need to adjust is the time zone. Okay, so depending on where you are in the world, obviously your time zone will be different. Now, by default, in ATAS platform, your time zone will be set to 0. Look at the top row of my screen. So this is going to be like this. Okay, 0 refers, now pay attention to what I say. 0 refers to the GMT time zone. Okay, Greenwich Standard Time. So essentially, what you want to do is count how far ahead or behind are you compared to the GMT. So for me, for example, I'm in Spain, so I'm 1 hour ahead, which means for me, all the time zones are going to be set to 1, as you can see for the rest of my exchanges, right? So if you are, for example, 2 hours ahead, you will put 2. If you are, let's say, in US and you are 6 hours behind the GMT, guess what? You will put minus and put 6. So you will be able to calculate where you are compared to the Greenwich Standard Time. And this is the number in hours that you put in your time zone. For me and you guys, for those of you who are in Spain, and we have a very big Spanish community apparently on our live stream. So for all of you, the time zone will be corresponding to 0, to 1, apologies, to 1. So you want to put 1 everywhere. Now, the easier way to set up your time zone is doing it by exchange, because by symbol, you will have a very big list of symbols, obviously, to look through and to make sure that nothing is missed, okay? So the easier way to set it up is by exchange. Once you do, all the exchanges are set up to your time zone, all the assets will be automatically converted to your time zone when you open the chart. So this is the very easy way to doing so. Once you change your time zone to the one that you are in, you click apply and you get back to the main menu. So right here, we went through the common settings, time zones, sound settings, and themes. Now, hotkeys, something that a lot of traders overlook I really, really advise you to pay attention to this because using the hotkeys is going to save you up to 70% of the time when using ATAS platform for trading, but also for doing your analysis. All right, so you will be able to adjust your global hotkeys, which personally I do not use. Okay, so I personally don't use the hotkeys for global settings, but what I utilize the most is the trading hotkeys and charting hotkeys. Okay, if you talk about trading, now the main things that I want you to consider is setting up the hotkeys for buy by market, sell by market, cancel all in case that something is happening in the market that is unpredictable, some volatility is kicking in, and you do not want to be in any position and you have many pending orders placed. This one small button may save you lots of time and lots of money when the market is not doing what you expected. So make sure that you set up this one small hotkey because in the future it can cost you lots of money to not get out of the positions on time. Also, for example, if your trading day is over, I hear like throughout my years, I've essentially talked with many beginner traders. I've taught a lot of beginner traders, thousands upon thousands around the world. So majority of people have the problem that they forget about their penny orders. So once you are done trading for today, make sure that you press this one button, okay? Because in this case, all closed positions, in this case, all your positions will be closed and pending orders canceled. If you just press cancel all, only pending orders will be canceled. Okay, so this is all open positions and pending orders. This is only pending orders, but make sure that you press it so it clears out all your pending orders around the whole assets side classes. So everything is clear and you do not end up being in the position that you didn't expect to be in just by accident because you forgot about the pending orders. All right. So make sure that you protect your capital before everything else, right? Because protecting your capital is first, money in trading comes after. So after this, also what I really advise you to set up is charting hotkeys, because when you use the charting hotkeys, it can save you really a lot of time when doing your analysis for ATAS platform. In this case, you don't need to go back and forth choosing the different drawing tools and applying them to the chart. You can simply press one button and do anything that you need from the drawing perspective, technical analysis perspective on your chart. All right. So from the whole list here of the drawing tools, I'm not going to go through this one by one because there are many different things and some of you are using one thing, some of you are using another thing. So from this whole list, choose the things that you use daily for your technical analysis and make sure that you set up the hotkeys specifically for this for this drawing tools. Okay, so for this analytical tools, it really, trust me on my word, when I just started, it took me a little bit of time to memorize these hotkeys, but once I did, it saved me so much time. So much time on analysis, I really can't empathize how important it is. And we all know that in trading, time is money. So if you save yourself time, you eventually can make more money as well. And then for those of you who use a smart DOM for trading, which is the proprietary option of the depth of market DOM of ATAS. So this is also something that you want to consider setting up. I don't personally use smart DOM when I trade. So obviously, as you can see for me, it's not set up. But if you do, it's also something that can help you to just trade directly from the depths of market, from the smart DOM, right? And clear essentially specific type of trades that you want to clear out of your depths of market. So once you're done here, you click close and you get back to the main dashboard. Let me get back to some questions in the chat before we're going to continue. So can you make a tutorial video on ATAS 6? It will be coming, so just stay patient. All right, and it will be coming. It's in the process. So yes, you will get the tutorial on the ATAS 6, of course. No, not right now, but please be patient and we're gonna deliver you the best tutorial on ATAS 6. I personally use it in my trading daily. I started to use more ATAS X even than, for example, the classical version for my own trading. So it will be there, but just a little bit later. Okay. So regarding the questions with specific timelines of releases in ATAS X, it's better to refer it to the main technical team of developers, because sometimes some things take a little bit longer, some things can be done shorter, faster. I am not on the role, let's say, with the timelines of specific things to be released. My task is different, all right? So please go to the Telegram channel or the Discord server of ATAS, tag the developers, they will get back to you with the timelines on when it's released. Remember that if you have some specific questions, besides me doing these live streams on the setup every single week, you also have the Telegram channel, Discord channel daily, where our team works 24/7 almost to be able to answer all your questions and help you with everything around the platform. Okay. So regarding the question about the charts, I'm gonna help you to a little bit later when we open the chart. So I'm gonna remember about this question. We're gonna get back to this a little bit later. Okay. Perfect. Right, let's continue. So we set up pretty much everything from this specific tab. Now, that being said, the workspace is something extremely important because this connects all your charts, all your timeframes, all your analysis, pretty much everything that you need to trade in one big workspace. So once you launch your platform, all your charts, all of the time frames, everything will be open and set up automatically. And this is the difference of ATAS and a very powerful thing of ATAS compared to the online trading platform, something that you have as a web version, because obviously the web version doesn't save your asset classes that you trade. So for example, if you trade on the web version of some kind of platform, then every single time that you go to the website, you need to reopen your charts, you need to reopen your time frames, you need to reopen your assets. In ATAS, everything is set up for you. So once you do, right, once you do all the web workspace for your comfortability of trading and save it, the next time you will launch the platform, it's going to be ready for you to trade. No extra steps, nothing. It may be a little bit work in the beginning to set everything up, but then every single day you will be ready for trading just by 2 clicks of your mouse, which is extremely comfortable. So we're going to get back to workspaces and create your first workspace together today, a little bit later, once our charts are set and ready. So we went through the license information tab, we went through the settings tab. Now let's continue to the home. In our home tab, you will see many different things. It's probably the biggest tab, essentially, right? It's the biggest tab from the whole dashboard. So let's go from the right to the left for the comfort and to keep things structured. On the right side of your tab is everything that is connected to your account. So those are the things that activate certain windows in your main window of ATAS. Let me just move my camera to the right side, and you will be able to see different things about information about your trading account. So once you have your account connected, you can disable or enable certain things. Like for example, as you can see, there is no blue frame, so the orders tab disappears from my main window. If I click on it again, and if it is surrounded with the blue border, it's add up back to the main window. As you can see, if I add pretty much everything up, you will be able to see the orders, trades, so the orders which are pending orders, the trades that have been executed, were executed on your account, active positions once you have your account connected, accounts, trading strategies, and logs. If you are experiencing any technical difficulties with the platform, team is going to ask you to send the logs file to them. So you can activate and deactivate specific tabs of the menu into the main menu on the right side of your screen in the home tab. Now, beside this, what else do we have on the left side of your menu, right? We have some things that are going to help you with trading, which are the things that you essentially follow anyway if you take your trading seriously, like for example, economic calendar, right? So the list of the news, like for example, the news themselves, alerts, and so on and so forth. So it is built in the platform. So by clicking on it, it's going to open you the special page and give you the information about the upcoming news and all the economic calendar releases. Now, two things that are going to drastically help your trading, especially if you manage multiple accounts. For example, if you have multiple of your own trading accounts, or if you are a trader that passes, for example, prop accounts, you do not need to manage your accounts separately. What you can do, you can use the following manager, which is essentially a built-in copy trader, trade copier inside of the ATAS platform. So once you click on the following manager, the new tab will appear. And in this tab, you will be able to create what is called the copy group. In this copy group, you can connect multiple accounts, like for example, the master account on which you execute trades, and then slave accounts, so copy accounts, which will be following the master account. For me, as a person who manages multiple accounts, this is extremely comfortable because I don't need to use the external trade copier. I can just use the one which is built in the platform and manage all my accounts and all my trades from here. So I use one account to trade, and then it gets copied across multiple other ones, okay, which is saves you lots of time, obviously, and saves you money as well, because it's practically impossible to open a close trade at the same time, exactly same time across multiple accounts. So this is something that is going to save you lots of time and money. And if you are the person who takes your trading seriously, you do something that is called backtesting. So you run your strategy on the historical data before you apply it on your demo or live account. So it's something that is absolutely necessary. I've been teaching about this on our webinars. I've been teaching about this outside of our webinars. So I always say that the things that probably helped me one of the most in my trading career is actually starting backtesting. I know it's a little boring, and a lot of people don't want to spend time on backtesting because it's much more fun to click buy and sell buttons, obviously, right? And see your P&L going up and down. You get this dopamine kick immediately. Now, obviously, if you want money to be made from trading and not the dopamine kicks every single day, you will eventually need to do the work behind before you're going to actually start trading. So for this, ATAS created something extremely powerful. All right, you have something what is called the replay. You have something what is called the replay. The replay is the built-in backtesting software of ATAS. Now, it's not just like a replay on other trading platforms, because other trading platforms only allow you to replay the candles. So you can see basically how the candles were formed and backtest your system. Now, ATAS doesn't only replicate and simulate their platform, like it doesn't only simulate itself the candles, but also the order flow. So not only the candles get replicated, but also the order flow and all the formation of, for example, charts, right? All the formation of the asks and bids distribution inside of the market and so on and so forth. So you have a powerful tool to help you with your trading just inside of ATAS platform. So how do you launch it? You go ahead, you click replay button in the main dashboard like we said before, and then you need to enable, first of all, you need to enable the replay. So on the left upper corner, you have this red button, which is says the replay is off, okay? So what you need to do, you need to go and click on this until the replay button turns green from red. Now the replay is on, as you can see, and here you need to choose the parameters for your replay. So now, in this case, you go ahead and you choose the market data type. This depends on what you prefer to trade and how you prefer to trade, obviously, right? Because the more data you need, the more time it's going to take to load, but it's also going to give you the much deeper insights in the market when you backtest your strategy. The first option, candles and generated best prices, the best bid and ask, is going to give you, obviously, the best bid and ask, but not all bid and asks, and the candle generated, like just regular of candles. Now, in the ticks and generated best prices, you will be able to find the tick by tick data and the best prices of bid and ask. And then you have ticks and depth of market. Yes, ATAS also allows you to backtest the DOM, so the backtest the DOM function and the level 2 data, which, to be quite honest with you, I've never seen anywhere else. So this is extremely powerful because it allows you to go much more in depth with your backtested functions. Okay, so here, if you click the ticks and DOM, it's going to take a little bit longer time, but you will have the much deeper insight in your replay. If your strategy doesn't require the access to the DOM, depth of market, and all the ticks and the level 2 data, you can choose one of the first two options depending on your needs. If you want more insights on how a replay works, you will be able to find the lessons recorded in our ATAS YouTube channel. So if you go to ATAS YouTube channel, you will be able to find the lessons on replay and see exactly how it works. But step by step, you choose the option, you choose the date range from which to which you want to backtest. For example, you want to backtest months, you choose specific months, days that are going to be loaded, and then you choose the instruments that you want to trade. Like, for example, let's say the GC, you choose gold, for example, and you open the chart of this specific instrument. Okay, and then you can choose the playback speed on the bottom of your screen. So you drag it to the left or right, the speed tab, to make sure that the candles and bid and ask are formed slower or faster depending on the speed of your backtesting. Again, if you need more information and insights on replay, feel free to check out the YouTube channel of ATAS platform on more in-depth guides. For now, I'm going to turn the replay off and go back to the main ATAS dashboard. Okay? So what do we do next, right? We went through the following manager, we went through the replay. What else do we have? We have connection tab, and this is exactly the window that is going to allow you to connect the access to the markets, so the quotes access, and connect your account. This is the button that calls out exactly the same window as the one on the left down corner. So right here, the connection button also exists, and it's going to call out exactly the same window. In this window, you will be able to connect multiple accounts, disconnect the accounts, choose which one corresponds to the quotes providing, and so on. So as you can see, I have several accounts connected. I have some disconnected, one connected. And how do you add the account? How do you add the quotes provider? You do it by going into this menu and clicking the blue add button. Okay. Here you will be able to choose the provider of data or your broker. So for example, DXFeed, CQG, what are the popular ones? Interactive brokers, like Rhythmic, for example, Ninja Trader, and so on and so on. So DXFeed, for example, Prop, right? And some Binance and other crypto exchanges. So once you do this, you need to fill in the username and your password provided by either your data provider or your broker, obviously. So you give the connection your custom name by which you will be able to recognize this account, and then you use the login and password provided by your broker or by your quotes provider, and you choose the server. In some cases, it's not necessary. In some cases, it is. Once you did this, you click finish, and it's going to get back to this menu. If you want to connect or disconnect certain accounts, you can click it. You can choose it by the right side of the screen. Connect or disconnect accounts, right? And when you choose which one is a quote provider, make sure it's a suggestion from my side. Make sure it's only one account that is responsible for the quotes, so they don't overlap each other and they don't disturb the data from one to another. Okay, so choose one quotes provider. And if you want the accounts to be connected automatically, make sure that there is a check on auto connect for all the accounts. Once you connected your accounts and provider of quotes, you click close. Now, afterwards, from the important things, if you are using the Smart DOM, Smart Tape, Bid and Ask Tape, and All Prices Tape in your trading, this is where you will be able to find it. So all of this can be found on the home menu of the dashboard, right? And then also you have the watch list and chart. It's something that we're going to create together in just a minute. But before we're going to go there, if you want more information on any of the assets, if you want more information on any instrument of ATAS platform, if you want to learn specific things about the water flow and volume, if you want to deepen your knowledge about any of this, go and check out the Learn tab. It's located on the left upper corner of your menu. You click Learn, and there are many things that are going to simplify and help you in your trading. So you will be able to find how to get started with the ATAS platform. So you will be able to see here the quick start that has been opened. Afterwards, tips and tricks about the platform, books that are recommended, articles that are written by other experts and also by me, videos, which is going to open you the YouTube of ATAS, right, which you are now watching it. So you have multiple things that are going to help you in your trading. You go to videos, you find what you need, what you want to learn. You go to playlists, you find several courses. You can see my marathon is here as well. You can see heat map guides and so on. You can see live trading sessions that we started hosting just a couple of weeks ago, trading bases, and so on. So it's a very useful thing that ATAS team created for you, so you can learn more about order flow and volume just right inside of your platform. So go check out the Learn tab. All right, let me see the questions in the chat. Question, do you run ATAS using Windows 11 and site parallels like software? So I have two laptops that I work with at the current moment. I'm changing one. So one of them, where you see the classical platform being streamed, is run on Windows 11 through parallels. Another laptop that I use the ATAS X for the other MacBook. So both of my laptops are MacBook. ATAS X is running on the smaller MacBook, and the classical version is running on the bigger MacBook and through the parallels indeed. So yes, I do. And mainly I've been working with the classical version, obviously, because ATAS X was just released recently for MacBook, and I've been running through parallels as long as I've been using ATAS. So the past 6 years, essentially. And if you want to live stream with ATAS and do live trading, and if you are good in what you do, you have some audience, feel free to reach out to ATAS support and offer it. And if you are really good in what you are doing, I'm sure we can create something together. So make sure that you reach out on the ATAS email, offer, what you can, and let's see what we can create. Answering this question, I can be as good as I want in trading. I'm absolutely horrible in technical aspects. Now we are connecting all the lights, microphone, and so on. And trust me, this is just a nightmare for me to connect all of this together. So I do not know the RAMs of this laptop. I can tell you that this is a MacBook Pro. That's it. So on MacBook Pro, the ATAS through parallels was running perfectly smooth. And that being said, I have sometimes 20 charts opened. So even with 20 charts, range XV, footprints, and so on, it was running smoothly. You can check it out. It's MacBook Pro, and it's quite an old one, 2019 or something, I think. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. So to the next thing. So we went through the main setup onto the dashboard. All right. So we went through all these main things into the dashboard. Let's move on into creating our watch list, charts, templates, and workspace, which are directly connected to your trading setup. So first things first, the watch list. This is the list of the instrument that you trade daily. So you do not need to go ahead and search every single instrument every single day when you open the platform. So what do? You go and click on the watch list. If you launch the platform for the first time, obviously you're not going to have anything in the watch list, just like here. So I replicate the first launch of the platform for you. In the favorites, you have nothing. So you need to go to the All Instruments tab right here. and search the instruments by the code or by the folder. Obviously, the easier version is to search it by the code. And before we're going to create our watch list, I'm going to ask you in the chat, what are your top 3 instruments that you trade on the daily basis? Let me know in the chat, what do you guys trade? And we're going to create the watch list based on your preference. So top 3 instruments that you trade daily or weekly, depending on your trading style, of course. What are those? What do you guys trade? I can tell from my side, while you are texting in the chat, I trade gold, I trade silver, and I trade major currency pairs, like for example, 6E, 6B, 6A. For live trading, I trade S&P 500 and Nasdaq just because you requested, but mainly I trade metals for myself and major currencies. S&P 500, mini, okay, perfect. Bitcoin, okay, let's follow this. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add S&P 500 first. So I go ahead and I click ES, type ES. You will be able to see mini S&P 500 and the whole folder below it of many different contracts. So we want to choose the continuous contract, which connects all of the contracts in one simple chart. So I click on the star next to the name and it's going to move it into favorites, and I have the code of my instrument just here. We have also a request for the GC. So in all instruments, I'm going to go and type GC, which is gold, and you will be able to see exactly the same thing. So also next to continuous, I click on the star, it's going to move it to favorites. Now in our watch list, we have 2 things. And the third asset that we're going to add is going to be Bitcoin. So we're going to go back to all instruments. I'm going to type BTC USDT, and on Binance, I will be able to choose BTC USDT on Binance, click star. And now in our watch list, we have 3 assets of your choice, which is mini S&P 500 futures, gold futures, and BTC USDT on the Bitcoin, on the Binance. All right. So we have this created. If I'm going to close it and going to open the watch list once again, you will be able to see our favorite instruments already here. Now, if I go ahead and I click on the chart tab, it's going to allow me to open a watch list and open the chart right from here. I can, by the way, also open the chart by clicking on the plus icon on the bottom of my screen. If I click on the chart, it's going to call out exactly the same menu, just a side note. And let's choose a mini S&P 500. I double click on it. And as you can see, the chart will be opened inside of the main dashboard. If I want my chart to open full wide screen, I can either drag and move the chart. So it's going to be open in a separate window instead of the main window of ATAS, just like this, as you can see. Or what else I will do, I can go ahead, let me just connect it back. I can go ahead and click chart, click mini S&P 500. And now I will have the chart opened separately, right? Now, there was a question about the chart. Chart is opening behind the ATAS general page. This is because you probably are clicking on the topmost icon on your general ATAS page. If your topmost is clicked, this is pinning the window that is chosen, that is with the topmost, to the top of all the windows. So if you topmost your main window, it's obviously going to not let you see the other things. So if I'm going to topmost pin my chart, for example, even if I go back to the dashboard, my chart will stay on top of all the other things, including the dashboard. So make sure that you don't topmost the main dashboard if you want to see the charts on top of it. And this is our chart. Those are the basic default settings of the chart on how they are opened, right? So right here we have the chart and we can choose our settings. First things first, let's go through the right upper corner as we already started. So we already know that if I topmost pin the chart, it's gonna stay on top of all the other things. It also helps if I want to have many charts in exactly the same place and one always stay there, like for example, the heat map. orange XV charts or so on. So I can topmost it here. And then afterwards, I can also go back to, for example, full screen mode of this chart or minimize the screen. I can do the screenshots from here and minimize the screen, restore the screen, and so on. But the most important thing from this window, this part of the menu, is settings. So if you click on settings, you will be able to adjust the visual and cluster settings of your ATAS platform. So in visual settings, you can obviously change the color of the background, for example, right? You can change how your chart looks, like, for example, change the color of the current price, right? If you want to see it commonly, like, for example, let's say I want to see it as orange or whatever. Then I can also adjust the crosshair if I want to do so. I can unclick the grid if I want to do so, and I can adjust the color of the candles, right, depending on my personal preference. So you can change your chart settings just from this window. You can also change the cluster settings of your chart here. So if you are interested in doing the footprint trading, the order flow trading, if you zoom in into your chart, your candles will automatically change towards the order flow, towards the cluster charts, as you can see. So if you zoom in, the candles will be automatically changed for the footprint. Here you can also adjust the cluster settings, so how your footprint looks. You can change, you can also have the extra menu here appearing, but you can also change it from this window, the parameters of the footprint. Like, for example, I want to change it to delta instead of bid and ask, or delta centered, for example. I want to see the delta, and I want to have the candle formed instead of just the body. I can also add additional footprint if I want to see not only delta, but also want to see, for example, the volume or the distribution of ask, bid, and ask, or whatever I want to see. So let's say I have delta on the left and I have volume on the right. So I have a double footprint right here. If I want to do so, I can choose the background of clusters, so they are a little bit more visible for me, right? And it's easier to work with them. And I can adjust the parameters of, for example, their text. So the text can be adjusted. How my point of control looks like can be adjusted. And I can adjust also, obviously, their how sensitive is my proportion settings. So for asks and bids changes, so I can adjust this here too, depending on whatever I prefer, right? Then I can also adjust my imbalance settings and so on. We have the tutorial on how to set up your footprint charts, of course, in our YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and you can check this out more in depth, but you can change the settings right here. If you do not want the candles to auto-transform into the clusters, so let's say you want to stay only with candles, and if you zoom in, you prefer candles to stay candles, you can do it also from the main settings window. So you go to chart settings, you go down and you unclick auto-transform candles to clusters option right here. You click close, and then no matter how much I zoom in, the candles are going to stay the candles. On the left menu of your screen, you will be able to see many different drawing tools. Those are all the drawing tools, basic and not so basic, that are going to help you with your trading, of course, right? So you will be able to see, for example, some volume profiles options as well available here, not as indicator, but as a drawing tool. So everything will be available for you to trade just as comfortable as you want to do so. Also, if you want to find, for example, the indicators can be found on the right, on the top of your screen. So you go to indicators window and you add the indicators that you want to see. So for example, I want to be able to add the volume on the bottom of my screen. I will see the volume being added. I want to see, for example, delta, right here. So I want to be able to see delta. So here I have the delta and the volume already added to my screen. Besides this, let's say that I do not want to use the drawing tool, but I want to see the volume profile indicators on my chart, right? How to exactly use it and so on. You have the lessons on it on the ATAS YouTube. So I'm just showing you how to set up your chart in a very, very basic way, of course, at the current moment, just to fit as much as and many things as I can in our today's live stream for the first launch of the platform. So let's say you added your base indicators into the ATAS platform, into the chart, and you want to save it. Now, to be able to save the settings of your chart, to make sure that you don't need to set it up every single time you open the new chart in ATAS platform, exists something what is called the templates. Templates can be found next to the indicators menu. So you go ahead, you click templates and go to settings. So once you set up your chart, you can add this template and save your visual settings of the chart, visual settings of cluster charts, indicator list, and indicator settings. Now pay attention that templates do not save your drawings, so do not save your analysis. They only save your visual aspects, cluster settings aspects, indicators, and settings of the indicators right on your chart. So let's say you want to add the new template. You go ahead, you click add, you choose the new template name. Let's say I want to call it, what is it today? March 12th, for example, March 12th. March 12th. I click OK. The new template will be added at the bottom of my screen. I click a star, and it's going to move my templates into the favorite. So next time, if I click on this button, I will be able to see my templates all the way on the bottom of my list. So how does it help me? It helps me in a way that if I go back and if I open a new chart, let's say we want to open GC this time instead of mini S&P 500, right? So I want to trade GC as an example. So this is my new chart, GC chart. As you can see, it has a very basic settings. So those are the default settings that we've been using, we've been seeing when we first launched our chart for the first time. So instead of adjusting all of the settings manually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click the templates, I'm gonna choose March 12th, and I will be able to automatically apply all the settings to my other chart. So now we have mini S&P 500 on 5-minute time frame and GC on 5-minute time frame together with the same very settings. What if, right? What if I want to change the time frame? I can do it on the left upper corner of my screen. This is also where I can change the instrument. So if in the same window, I want to change the instrument from, for example, gold to something else, I can do it like here, or I can change the time frame. So let's say I want a 30-minute time frame. And here is something that I will be able to, like, now I have a 30-minute time frame gold chart. Let's assume that I want to have not gold, but mini S&P 500. Now I have a mini S&P 500 and a mini S&P 500 on two different time frames. So I have 30-minute time frame and I have 5-minute time frame. I can connect them in one layout. So both of those stay in one chart connected to each other. How do I do this? I go ahead, I open this chart full screen. I'm gonna call out this one. And I drag the second chart until I see this button appearing in the center. Now I can choose where I can pin and where I want to pin the second chart. Let's say I want 30 minutes on the left and 5 minutes of the same asset on the right side. So now I see my 5 minutes on the right, 30 minutes on the left, and I can analyze the same asset from the multi-time frame analysis. Sorry guys, I'm battling a little bit with my light here today. So this is the layout that I just created, and I can add as many things as I want. Let's say that I want to add a footprint chart, for example. I can also do it here. So I can clone the window, which is also an option. Instead of, for example, applying the template, you can clone the window. And I can, let's say, change it to footprint charts instead. So clusters. To close these indicators, and I can pin it on the bottom of my screen, on the right bottom corner. So right here, I have 30-minute time frame chart, I have 5-minute time frame chart, and I have the footprint chart. So all together in one. So the question is relatable, obviously. The next question is, how do we save the analysis? So let's say I do some analysis, right? Whatever. I do like support or resistance. I do the levels. I do the zones that I'm interested in. So how do I save this now, right? Let's say whatever I want to do. Whatever I want to do, I do. I do some lines. I do something. So now the template saves the indicators, the colors, the settings of the time of the chart, and so on. How do we save our drawings? How do we save our analysis? This is done through the workspace. So now we have our template, we have our layout of chart connection. We can go back to the main ATAS dashboard and go to settings. If we go to settings, there will be a workspace button, which allows you to create a workspace with a connection of all the different instruments, all the different time frames, all of the assets that you need to trade in one window. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to click workspace right here. And we are going to create the new workspace because, of course, the first time that you launch the platform, your workspace is not going to be available. You are not going to have one. So how do you create the new workspace? You go and click Add. You give it a name. So, for example, March 11. And I make sure that Add Windows from the current workspace button is pressed. I click OK. And this is ensuring that all the charts that I've had opened are now saved in my new workspace. So as you can see, my charts are loaded. And my workspace that is loaded is March 11. You can see it as a bold text separation. So here we have our workspace that has been created. And right now, all of my drawings, all my analysis, all my charts, templates, and their layouts, everything is saved. I can also go ahead and I can export my workspace. So let's say that you are changing, or you have multiple laptops, you have multiple PCs, and you want to change from one to another without a need to adjust the things and save the settings on every single time that you change your laptop. You can do it by exporting your workspace. So once you create the workspace, and you can do exactly the same with the templates, you can go ahead and you click export. You will be able to choose where you want to save it. And once you save it, you can click import on the new laptop and import the same workspace, which is going to open the same charts, drawings like support, resistance, and all your analysis, the colors, the visual aspects, footprint settings, and so on. Everything will be saved and automatically loaded onto the new your new working machine. So here we pretty much went through the main things. All right. There is one thing that I wanted to show you, answering basically the question that we had before. So if you are looking for the economic calendar information, I use different economic calendar. Please check it by comparing it there and here. Okay, I use a different economic calendar, but it should be same time. But please refer with this question to the support in Telegram or the Discord, and they're gonna give you the information on this. Okay. Okay, perfect. Is it only for chart windows or it also saves the depths of market? Workspace saves everything. So whatever you open, the smart DOM, smart depths of market settings, it's going to save everything and it will be opening everything heat map. So whenever you launch a platform, it essentially loads everything that you use for your works, for your trading, and it's going to automatically load and get ready for you to trade. So Workspace saves everything. Templates save visual settings, indicators, and indicator settings. Workspace saves everything that you need to trade daily. Okay. I don't see any more questions. If you have any more questions, this is the time to ask those in the chat. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you the trading window. So once you are ready to trade and you made sure that your platform is set up, you can choose how do you trade. You can trade from the depths of market, or you can trade just normally from the chart. If you use a depths of market trader, you click on the DOM trader, it's going to reflect all the order flow and you will be able to trade from the depths of market. Or you can also go ahead and you choose the standard chart trader. From here, you will be able to open, close, and manage your trades. And you can also click on the background and choose to place a limit orders just from the chart. So it's going to allow you to place a sell limit, buy stop, or obviously buy limit and sell stop. You also, if you want to see in practice how to trade from the ATAS platform, every single week on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Central European Time, which is 4 p.m. GMT, which is usually in just 1 hour from now, I host a live trading. You can see the recordings of the live trading of the past sessions that we did in the YouTube channel as well. This week, we are not going to have the live trading. We will be having the call about the updates for the classical version of ATAS. So make sure that you join to find out even more in-depth information about how to use the ATAS platform too, and all the new features and tools that our amazing development team was able to implement on the last update. So make sure that you join. Next week, we will be back obviously with the live trading. So you will be able to see me trading live using all the order flow and volume tools that I talk about in our intensives, courses, and marathons on ATAS YouTube channel as well. I cannot recommend you the best data provider because ATAS does not work with specific data. You need to choose it yourself, so we can't really recommend it. You can choose anything from the list of ATAS connections, whatever suits you best, okay? Yes, you can import your template. So if you have a template ready, you go to templates, you go to settings, and just like this, you click import and you choose the import. You choose it to import the templates that is already ready. You can also download certain templates from online, from the ATAS blog, for example. So some things are ready for you. There are also templates that have been created by ATAS obviously itself, so you can try them out. And yeah, of course, you will need to change some settings in the cluster menu if you trade crypto, because depending on the crypto, you might need to choose. You need to choose what you trade. You need to choose if you trade relying on delta or the bid and ask comparison, or you trade relying on volume, for example. You need to change if you trade on the time frame of the Japanese candlesticks or use the range XV charts. So I cannot tell you what you need to change because it depends on what you trade based on, but of course you need to change something, right? So if you have the specific setup that you trade, you can come to live trading next week, for example, and we can look at it. But yes, you can import your template and you can adjust all the settings that you need. Greetings from Austria. Welcome, Andrea. Welcome. We are just finishing our live session, so you're a little late, but you can always watch the recording. The recording is always available on the ATAS YouTube channel too. You need to make sure that the exchange that you are connecting is allowing you insight into the level 2. So not all exchanges, the same as not all the brokers, are allowing the level 2 data by default. If they do, then connecting just exchange and the broker will be enough. Usually they don't, and you need to get the deeper data separately. Hey, welcome. Good to see you here. Okay, guys, seems like we are out of questions. If you will have any more questions, please remember that you can connect to us and you can contact us on the Telegram channel or the Discord as well. So you can, if you have any questions specifically towards me on the Telegram, you can tag me and I will answer the questions, or you can leave the questions under this YouTube video as well. And in the recording afterwards, I will answer some questions in the comments too. So this is also the possibility. If you will have some questions afterwards that perhaps were not didn't come to you during the live stream, you can always post them in the comments or on the Telegram, tag me, and I'm going to be more than happy to help you and reply. So thank you so much for being with us today. This was our live setup of ATAS platform first launch. In just 1 hour from now, I will see you on the call regarding the updates to our classical version of ATAS. So make sure that you don't miss it out, because there's going to be lots of new features that are going to help you in your trading. So I'll see you guys there. And for the next week, I will see you back on our live streams with the live trading. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. You can always tag me in ATAS and ask questions if you need. I'll see you guys there. And thank you so much once again. Have a profitable end of your week.